Some breaking news to bring to you this hour. Right now, we're tracking a huge story. The Indian Army has released videos of striking Pakistani posts on the LOC, the line of control. Indian Army on Tuesday says that it has destroyed the Pakistani Army post in the Naushera sector of Jammu and Kashmir that was supporting infiltrators. The Army says the video was shot on the 21st, 2 days back this weekend, that is Sunday. The video clearly shows Pakistani bunker being destroyed in an artillery assault. We have WION's correspondent Raghavendra Rao joining us live now from the WION newsroom with the very latest. Raghavendra, certainly huge news of this video surfacing showing India attacking the Pakistani post at the line of control. Certainly the tensions between India and Pakistan are ongoing.
Absolutely, and this is a very big development that has come in just now, because it is the Indian Army which has itself released this video wherein this Pakistani bunker is shown to be destroyed by shelling from the Indian side. Now this is almost like the surgical strikes part 2, and this was in the offing in a way, because the manner in which infiltration and cross-border terrorism was being witnessed on the LOC and on the Indo-Pak border. The kind of repeated shellings and the recent instance where the bodies of Indian Jawans had been mutilated by Pakistani soldiers. Tensions between the two neighbors had escalated to never before levels, and it was actually being expected that India would sooner or later hit back. So this is in line with that, Archit.
Raghavendra, let me also ask you, regards to what has been happening in the front between Pakistan and India, especially recently with the case of Kulbhushan Jadhav, last year, of course, with the Uri attack. It's really been a cat and mouse game between the two South Asian neighbors. What type of a response are we possibly expecting from Pakistan after this latest incident?
Well, obviously, Pakistan would try to, as has been the case in the past, it would try to play down this particular strike. It may try to come up with, statements or assertions saying that probably this was an old video, or this is a post which is not even located inside its territory or even within the POK. That kind of a response from Pakistan cannot be ruled out completely, because they would try to play it down. They would try to insist that nothing of this sort has taken place. They were in fact the ones who were also on the forefront at denying the surgical strikes in the first place, the surgical strikes which India carried out in September last year. Clear rebuttal or a clear denial was issued from the Pakistani side even then. But yes, the Indian side is pretty assertive about these things now. The very fact that even the surgical strikes were announced by the Director General of Military Operations in a press conference at that time, something which had not happened ever in the history between these two hostile neighbors. And also today, the Indian Army has gone out and, told the country that this post has been destroyed by shelling from the Indian side. So these are, indications that the way Indian Army and the Indian security establishment has been approaching these matters, there appears to be a paradigm shift happening.
And Raghavendra, real quick as well, with regards to what is happening between India and Pakistan, certainly the international community weighing and watching this closely. What is going to happen, at least from the international perspective? We know that China and Pakistan certainly have allegiances. India has its own allies. I mean, the international reaction that is expected with regard to this, is that going to be significant, or are they just going to view this as yet another tension between the two South Asian neighbors that seems to be ongoing?
Well, yes, the international community would take note of this for sure, because even the last time around when India conducted surgical strikes across the LOC into POK territory, at that time also Pakistan, first of all, they tried to deny that such a thing had happened, but they were also hoping for some international support, which clearly didn't come their way. In fact, most of the countries, either chose to stay quiet, or some of them actually supported India's stance about tackling cross-border terror by conducting those surgical strikes. So even in this particular instance, the way Pakistan has been getting isolated at the international stage, the way they have failed to match up to their words in terms of action, they have been making right noises. Pakistan has often claimed that it too is a victim of terrorism, but their actions have failed to match with all the noises they have made. So in this particular case too, they may try to make some noises at the international fora, but I would reckon India, India, the kind of standing it has now in the international arena, I would reckon India would still get much more support.
All right, Raghavendra, we'll have you stand by for just a second. Let's get some reaction coming in with regards to this latest incident between India and Pakistan.
The strategy of Indian Army of destroying posts and all is a continuous process. What is surprising is that the Indian Army has chosen this time to brief the press, the public and the nation about it. Generally, Indian Army carries out its operations which are not let out, which are secret. We have chosen to come out openly and tell the public, tell the press about what actions the army has taken against Pakistani posts which were helping, aiding and abetting terrorism.
Infiltrations are likely to increase with melting of snow and opening of passes. Operations like Nogam, where 4 terrorists were neutralized on 20th and 21st of May, are such instances. This calls for even more proactive counter-terrorism operations.
All right, let me now go back to WION's correspondent Raghavendra Rao joining us live in the newsroom. Raghavendra, let me continue asking you, some political parties in India were probing and really pushing that there was more proof when it came to there was indeed a surgical strike. Is this sort of that reaction that they're doing to really prove that, yes, indeed, something did take place in terms of retaliation at the line of control?
That appears to be the case, Archit, because the last time around when those surgical strikes were carried out in 2016 September, there was a clamor from some sections across the political spectrum, wherein the likes of the Aam Aadmi Party, Arvind Kejriwal in particular, they had gone out, questioning whether those surgical strikes indeed take place. They, in fact, also sought proof at that time. This fact that the Indian Army has today gone out to distribute copies of this video. They have come out with this video and have shown this strike taking place and this bunker getting destroyed in Naushera. The fact that the Indian Army has chosen to come out up front and inform the nation and the public in general about this particular strike across the LOC, it seems to have stemmed from the fact that yes, this leaves no room for doubt. The political parties, at times they choose to get limited to their narrow political interests, and at times it becomes other political parties versus the BJP, and at times in such a situation they end up questioning several of the initiatives which the ruling party might be engaging in. That was the case when the surgical strikes happened the last time around, but this time in releasing this video, the Indian Army surely appears to have preempted that kind of questioning.
All right, Raghavendra, as well, last time Pakistan, when it happened with these surgical strikes, as you mentioned, last year, they denied it. What are we going to expect their response at this point? They really, are they going to deny it again? Or with the video, how compelling it is, they may not be able to do so?
As far as their past track record goes, I would reckon that Pakistan's initial response would be to completely deny any such strike on any of its posts. That has been their strategy over the past. That is the way they have reacted to any of these operations conducted by the Indian Army. So I would not be surprised if Pakistan actually goes on and denies this. But the fact that this video has been released, the fact that it is there for everybody to see, the fact that Indian Army is claiming ownership of this video, and the fact that it clearly shows a post getting destroyed, it will be very difficult for the Pakistani side to completely deny that this indeed did take place or not. But also what we should keep in mind is that ever since that instance of the 2 Indian Jawans getting their bodies getting mutilated took place, Pakistan has been on the defensive. In fact, there was a statement from their side a few days back wherein it warned the Indian side that any misadventure on the Indian Army's part would be met with strong action. So that statement was being seen at that time as as a preemptive measure to convey to the Indian side, which in fact ended up conveying that Pakistan indeed was expecting some retaliation from the Indian side.
All right, Raghavendra, stay with us. We're now going to WION's chief domestic correspondent, Karthikeya Sharma, bringing us the very latest on this angle of the story. Karthikeya, you know, India at this point, the army releasing the video of strikes at the line of control. What are some of the implications at this point? I mean, do we expect Pakistan to come back and say, you know, hey, we deny this again, this is just something that India doctored up? Or how are we expecting those conversations to go between the two South Asian neighbors? Really, this cat and mouse game that's gone on for months now.
See, the Pakistan is going to deny, but this is less about Pakistan, and this is more about the way Narendra Modi has changed the doctrinal strategic restraint of Dr. Manmohan Singh. You know, it is about not only I will hit you, but I'll claim that I have hit you. The whole, if you go by the Hindi jargon generally used in Pakistani army, which roughly translates in Hindi, "Ghar mein ghus ke mara." You know, we went inside their house and hit them hard. You know, this is what the Prime Minister Narendra Modi wants to show, that yes, we will hit them, we are hitting them, and we will show that we have hit you. Now, this is about psyops, and I see it simply as that strategic restraint which was being maintained has been completely broken. This is the third time it has happened. It happened during the surgical strikes in Northeast, then it happened surgical strikes in Kashmir, and then it happened in a cross-border artillery fire in which they destroyed the Pakistani bunkers and claimed that they killed the soldiers. So it is about changing the paradigm of engagement.
All right, Karthikeya, I'll have you stand by as well really quickly. We have some more breaking news coming in this hour on this story. The Army has issued a statement saying that the Pakistani Army has been providing support to the infiltrators, the Pakistani Army, targeting the villages near the line of control. They want peace and tranquility in the state of Jammu and Kashmir. Again, as part of our counter-terrorism operations, some of the punitive fire assaults across the LOC are being undertaken by the Indian Army. Again, the statement there coming in this hour with regards to that. Let me go back to Karthikeya on this. Again, another statement coming in. The Indian Army issuing this statement with regards to what has happened, saying that, you know, they have provided support to the infiltrators, the Pakistani army targeting the villages near the LOC. They want peace, they want tranquility in the state of Jammu and Kashmir in the valley. Karthikeya, let me go back to you with regard to this. You know, again, it's showing sort of the deep division between the two nations.
See, it shows deep division between the two nations because the divisions exist. And the division exists because Pakistan has not been able to come to terms with the fact that in 1971, the Pakistan as one disjointed entity got divided into Bangladesh and Pakistan. And it is after that the whole insurgency and the Punjab terrorism happened, because they always said that India supported through Mukti Bahini a certain section of the Bangladeshi politics, and hence the birth of Bangladesh took place. Without factoring into account that it was Punjabi versus Bengali, which created great violence and rift, and there was a massive pogrom which took place against Hindus. But keeping that aside, I would say that instead of pondering about what it means for South Asia, this is about what it tells us about Narendra Modi, because he is one agent, one powerful political actor in South Asia who is changing the dynamics. He's the most powerful politician right now in South Asia. And when I say this, I mean that he has overturned the doctrine of strategic restraint. He has not only overturned it, but he has remade the paradigm whereby he is using modern technology to showcase that this is the way India will be engaging with his adversaries. And most important of all, I would say, not only do it, but also use it in public discourse. And lastly, that actually shows his personality, that something which he has thought upon in the first go will be repeated continuously. He will not wilt under the pressure. Remember, Archit, there was so much of pressure when the first surgical strike took place last year in August, September. There was so much of criticism, but he did not wilt. That was the second surgical strike, Archit. And again, this is the one. But this time, and who is announcing it, Archit? You remember last time it was an Emmy everything. This time you have a middle-ranking army officer. So there are a lot of similarities. There is no discontinuity, Archit.
And Karthikeya, really quickly as well, we were talking about this earlier on. Is this a way, perhaps, for some of the pressure that some of the Indian political parties were throwing, demanding last time proof that there was indeed a surgical strike after what happened at Uri? Is this sort of a part two, a round two, perhaps, after that pressure by the Modi government?
See, I would say that, one, Modi government wants to be seen, want to act, and it wants to be seen acting also. Because there is no denying the fact, actually, that a lot of violence has taken place against the security forces also. And it, hits the morale. And soldiers fight on morale. Bullets come later. I think this is also about that PSYOP thing, that India is capable of doing violence or doing surgical strike on Pakistan again and again without opening theater of war, which can, become big because both the countries are nuclear in nature. So, it is also about that. It is also about morale, and it is also about the fact that Modi, and you have to understand, Archit, that, this was not even done by Vajpayee, who was a BJP Prime Minister, because he was much steeped into the larger traditional strategic restraint. That is why you would remember, Archit, when the nuclear testing was done, Prime Minister Vajpayee said minimum credible deterrence. He did not use the word deterrence. He did not use the word credible deterrence. He used the word minimum credible deterrence because that was part of strategic restraint. Modi has broken it forever. It is shattered today.
Karthika, what do we expect to happen in the coming days with regards to this, the response, perhaps, whether they deny it or not? In terms of any other follow-ups, perhaps, where do we see this going in the next few days, perhaps, after this latest incident, after India's army has issued the statement, they've shown the video? Where do we think this will all sort of unfold?
I think the PSYOPs will work. I think the government understands that the militants are trying to dominate the discourse through social media, whereby there's, the video comes out where they're eating food, or they're beating a local officer, or they're destroying a police station, running away with arms. I think this is a new strategy where the government is also releasing video after video saying that it is no simple, it is not an easy ride, it's not easy to be a militant. There will be consequences if there are violence, and consequences would be very, very hard. And these bunker-busting bombs show that.
All right, let me go back to Raghavendra really quickly, also standing by on this. Raghavendra, in terms of sort of what is happening there on the ground situation, it's certainly not an easy time at all for the people of Jammu and Kashmir, unfortunately, are bearing the brunt of this. Again, do we expect any kind of, is there a relief to any of this? Is there an end in sight between this back and forth between India and Pakistan? I mean, ultimately, those on the ground are paying the price for it.
Well, Archit, an action like this, which the Indian Army has taken, it's more of a message to the other side, because India has been at the receiving end of this cross-border terrorism for decades now, and despite several periods of lull, particularly during the winters because of the climatic conditions, whenever the Pakistani side gets the opportunity.
All right, one second, we're going to actually interrupt Raghavendra. We actually have a retired general, T.N. Hoon, standing by actually to get his perspective on the story as well. Let me see if we have him patched up. Retired General T.N. Hoon on the phone line. P.N. Hoon, I apologize for that. Let's see if we have him connected.
Thank you.
All right, my question to you, sir, is with regards to this latest incident in India, showing the video of the attack on the Pakistani post at this point. Let's talk about nationalism. Is this something that they're really pushing to do to show the pride of their country, to really push? And last time there was a bit of skepticism as opposed to the surgical strike. So is this sort of a more proof that they are committed towards dealing with those atrocities? Go ahead. You're live.
Hello.
Yes, go ahead. You're live, sir.
Yeah. I'm General Hoon. I was the Commander-in-Chief of the Western Army, and I have served in Kashmir and on all fronts. Pakistan has always misbehaved. I have been in Kashmir also for a good 8 months, 10 months, right from lieutenant to co-commander. And I found that they were acting very, very stupidly. So at that time, I was there, and my orders were anyone crossing the border must be shot and buried. I don't want to hear any cross. Now what happened is that the people are already in, and you see what happened yesterday and day before. They have got hold of one area where they were holding, and they were not allowing our troops to move forward. So then it's natural that we brought our mortars and our guns, and we shot them out. And I think Pakistan must understand that we are neighbors, and we have to live together, and Pakistan has to understand this thing. If they don't, then they are going to have many more casualties, and we are not going to let go now. As you may be knowing that our Muslim population in India is very, very high. And we live with them. We do everything with them. But if this sort of thing happens, then maybe that we would like them to evacuate. Because in the evacuation where India was broken up in 1947, this thing happened. So they threw us out from there. I am from Pakistan. And we are now in India. And we are Indians. So I think a time has come that Pakistan has to wake up. It must also run along with what the world wants. Now we want to progress further, our people to come well up. And last thing is that I would like to tell you that as far as India is concerned, we are the largest population in being Muslims in whole of India. So I'll give you something that there's the total growth of 17.22 crore Muslims in India since a few years. So we have to see that tomorrow we are okay. We are also ready to live with them and as brothers and all. But they have to do what we tell them to do. We are not wanting them to go. Though in 1947, as I told you, that we were kicked out of Pakistan then, and we are here since then. Muslim population also in India, it is 184 million. So it's a very big thing, and the population is going up and up. So we have to see that we look after them also. We are not anti-Muslim. We welcome them as our brothers, and I think that we are one of the largest Muslim population anywhere in any country.
All right. Thank you so much for those perspectives and insight. We appreciate it. Let's now go to retired General VP Malik, a defense analyst as well on this story. Thank you, sir, for joining us. We appreciate it. My question to you is this a strong message that the Indian Army is sending out to Islamabad with regards to, its prowess on what has happened between the two South Asian rivals as tensions continue to escalate?
Yeah, this is a strong message, not only to Pakistan Army, but as you said, to Islamabad, as well as to Pakistani public, for them to see that when Pakistan Army indulges things like this, carries out infiltration or helps infiltration and carries out beheading, then what India is quite capable of doing. Last few days we have been suffering a lot. Our civilian population along the line of control has had to be evacuated from the villages. They have to be withdrawn back, and the schools have been closed. And you had these disgusting incident of beheading taking place by the BAT team right all along the line of control. So a message has to be sent. But the difference is that earlier we used to do it. It did not have political backing, and we did not show these videos. Now, information war has become part of our conflicts, and therefore it has become necessary. The other thing is that, yes, there is a political backing which was not there earlier. So there is a change of strategy, and I think in a way it's a good thing for people on the other side to see that we can cause as much damage, if not more. We have the capability of retaliation, and even the world will realize that, yes, when they indulge in infiltration, we will hit back.
Let me also ask you, Retired General VP Malik, with regards to this, what do we expect Pakistan's response to be? I mean, at this point, do we believe that they have to sort of accept it? In the past, they were able to deny it. Or do we think they'll still come back and say that this video perhaps was doctored, this video perhaps is just peppered by India and is not legitimate? I mean, what do we expect Pakistan's response going to be after this latest incident?
Look, Pakistan is quite capable of denying anything and everything. We have seen it in the past. So I won't be surprised if they deny this also, and they can show it as, fake film, etc. But that beside the point. I'm sure a lot of people in Pakistan and the Pakistani government, civilian government, who are watching all this, they will understand what it means. And the other thing, I must also caution everybody who's deployed on the line of control that we may also expect some action from their side again, a retaliation action. And we have to be ready for that. And therefore, we should be quite prepared to see something happening from the other side, and we should be ready for that.
You mentioned the point about retaliation again. Certainly, with last year with Pathankot, with Uri, and the surgical strikes,
right,
it really is a back and forth game between the two countries. I mean, my big question is there really an end in sight at this point? I mean, how long is this going to continue, or what needs to be done so that there is at least some relief ultimately for the people who live there in the valley?
Look, I hope there is an end to sight. Why I am looking at that, the end to the sight of this kind of activity, is because earlier most of the Pakistanis and the Pakistani government did not get to see. They only got versions from the Pakistan army, whether they were denials or whatever. And now that everybody is watching, including the international community, I'm sure they will all realize that line of control, we should have peace, fire control on both sides. And therefore the ceasefire that was started in 2003 should continue. I have a feeling that this will probably put more pressure on the other side to follow the ceasefire that has been there in existence for some time.
All right, thank you so much for your insights, your perspective. That, of course, was retired General VP Malik providing his perspective on the latest happening between India and Pakistan. India proving video that they have struck down a Pakistani post. With that, it is a wrap for this edition of WION World is One News. We are going to take a quick break at this point. I'm Archit Seshadri. Thanks so much for joining us. Of course, more news and updates do continue on the other side. You can check our website, wionnews.com, or download the app for the very latest. And of course, our digital, mobile, and social media platforms will keep you up to date. I'm Archit Seshadri. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you soon.